Welcome to Crypto Journal. Hit like right now if you appreciate my content. Don't forget to join the channel membership program. Click the join button next to the subscribe button to access the plan club. What if I told you that Coinbase, the largest US cryptocurrency exchange with 108 million verified users invested in a payments protocol in 2021 that now processes $300 million annually, partners with Mastercard and World Mobile, and operates the exact infrastructure Coinbase needs to dominate real-world payments? What if that investment is deliberately being kept low profile until regulatory clarity arrives and partnerships fully deploy? And what if Coinbase Ventures' entire strategy with Zebec Network represents their sleeping giant play for the trillion-dollar real-time payments market? Today, we're exposing why Coinbase Ventures backed Zebec in its $35 million funding round, analyzing the strategic alignments nobody's discussing, revealing how Coinbase Commerce already uses the same real-time settlement infrastructure Zebec pioneered, and calculating why ZBCN could become one of Coinbase Ventures' most profitable positions when this sleeping giant awakens. This is 20 minutes that will change how you see institutional crypto positioning. Let me start by showing you what's already documented. In 2021, Coinbase Ventures participated in Zebec's $35 million funding round alongside Circle Ventures, Solana Ventures, Briar Capital, Republic, and Lightspeed Venture Partners. This wasn't a speculative bet. Coinbase Ventures invests in exceptional founders who share Coinbase's mission of creating more economic freedom for the world, focusing on seed-stage companies building critical Web3 infrastructure. Zebec was founded in 2021 as a decentralized streaming protocol on Solana. 4 years later, in 2025, they're processing over $300 million annually through real-time payroll serving 200-plus employees monthly, operating Zebec Carbon Card powered by Mastercard in 26-plus countries, and launching Zebec Net with World Mobile to provide payment infrastructure across 70-plus countries with 2.1 million daily active users. This trajectory from seed stage protocol to operational payment infrastructure processing hundreds of millions annually represents exactly what Coinbase Ventures looks for. Founders executing on ambitious visions, building real utility beyond speculation, and creating infrastructure that expands crypto's economic reach. But here's what changes everything. Coinbase-owned payment products are converging with Zebec's infrastructure in ways that suggest strategic coordination, not coincidental parallel development. Let's examine Coinbase Commerce, because this reveals the hidden connection. Coinbase Commerce enables businesses to accept cryptocurrency payments with instant settlement. The platform explicitly describes real-time USDC settlement as a core feature. Merchants receive funds immediately without waiting for blockchain confirmations or batch processing. This is identical to Zebec's streaming payment architecture, continuous, real-time value flow without intermediary delays. In October 2025, a researcher published technical analysis pulling GitHub evidence showing that Coinbase Commerce, Quantova Ledger, and Ethereum Sepolia testnet share the same on-chain API infrastructure. The investigation revealed that when Zebec executes streaming USDC payments, the signing process flows through the same custody architecture that Coinbase Commerce uses for instant merchant settlements. This isn't officially announced partnership. This is technical infrastructure suggesting these systems were designed to interoperate at the protocol level. When Coinbase Commerce processes instant crypto payments and Zebec processes real-time streaming payroll, they're potentially using shared infrastructure layers for custody, transaction signing, and settlement finality. Coinbase Ventures didn't just invest in Zebec. They invested in infrastructure that integrates with their own products. Now let's talk about why Coinbase specifically needs what Zebec provides. Because understanding Coinbase strategic challenges reveals why Zebec represents their sleeping giant payment bet. Coinbase operates the largest US crypto exchange with 108 million verified users. But exchanges are commoditizing. Binance, Kraken, OKX, and others offer similar services with competitive fees. Coinbase future growth depends on expanding beyond trading into payment infrastructure, banking services, and real-world utility. Coinbase launched Coinbase Card, enabling users to spend crypto anywhere Visa is accepted. They launched Coinbase Commerce for merchant crypto payments. They launched Base Blockchain for low-cost transactions. They're pursuing banking licenses to offer traditional financial services. Every initiative points toward the same strategic direction, becoming the bridge between crypto and everyday financial services. But here's the infrastructure gap. Coinbase excels at custody, trading, and blockchain rails. They don't excel at real-time streaming payments, payroll infrastructure, or Web2 business integration. That's exactly Zebec's positioning. Zebec specializes in continuous payment streams, enterprise payroll, and bridges between traditional finance and Web3. When Coinbase needs to expand into real-time payments, partnering with or leveraging Zebec's infrastructure becomes strategically optimal. Let's examine the technical architecture alignment. Zebec operates primarily on Solana, supporting fast, low-cost transactions. In July 2025, Zebec expanded to 15 blockchains, including Ethereum, BNB Chain, and Octaspace. Coinbase launched based on Ethereum L2 technology and operates across multiple chains. When Zebec enables multi-chain streaming payments and Coinbase operates multi-chain infrastructure, integration becomes technically straightforward. Moreover, Zebec integrated Circle's USDC as default stablecoin across their entire product suite in May 2025. Coinbase and Circle are strategically aligned. Circle was co-founded by Jeremy Allaire and Sean Neville with backing from Goldman Sachs, and Coinbase holds equity stake in Circle since 2023. When Zebec uses USDC exclusively and Coinbase is Circle's strategic partner, the infrastructure stack aligns completely. Here's where it gets explosive. On May 1st, 2025, Zebec announced certification as member of Circle's Alliance program. The announcement explicitly stated, Circle Ventures was one of our earliest backers, and USDC powers our entire product suite. With Circle holding a significant amount of ZBCN, we're working to make USDC the standard for real-world payments. Circle holds significant ZBCN. Coinbase holds equity in Circle. Coinbase Ventures invested in Zebec's seed round. Circle Ventures invested in Zebec's seed round. Circle manages USDC reserves through BlackRock. And Zebec processes $300 million annually using USDC exclusively. This isn't separate investments. This is coordinated infrastructure positioning where Coinbase, Circle, and BlackRock are interconnected through Zebec's payment infrastructure. Now let's talk about why this has remained relatively quiet. Because understanding institutional investment strategy reveals why sleeping giants stay dormant until deployment completes. Coinbase Ventures manages hundreds of portfolio companies. Not every investment gets promoted. Seed-stage companies building infrastructure for 3 to 5-year horizons don't generate immediate returns. Institutional investors position early, stay patient, and only promote investments when infrastructure matures and regulatory clarity arrives. Zebec in 2021 was experimental streaming protocol. Zebec in 2025 is operational payment infrastructure with Mastercard partnership, SOC2 certification, MiCA approval pursuit, world mobile integration, and $300 million in proven transaction volume. The infrastructure Coinbase Ventures bet on has materialized. Now comes the activation phase where quiet positioning becomes public validation. Here's the regulatory timing that changes everything. The Genius Act passed in July 2025, creating federal stablecoin frameworks with full reserve backing requirements. Zebec operates exclusively on USDC with reserves managed by BlackRock. When stablecoin regulations solidify and USDC becomes the federally compliant standard, Zebec's infrastructure automatically becomes regulatory approved payment rails. In October 2025, the SEC issued no action letter for DEPIN tokens like ZBCN, classifying them as non-securities. This sparked 3% sector rally and removed major regulatory uncertainty. Coinbase couldn't aggressively promote Zebec, while token classification remained uncertain. Now that clarity exists, institutional backing can become more visible without regulatory risk. Let's analyze Coinbase Ventures' portfolio strategy to understand where Zebec fits. According to CoinGecko data, Coinbase Ventures has invested in hundreds of projects across DeFi, infrastructure, Web3 gaming, and payments. Their most successful investments include Sway, Uniswap, Near Protocol, and multiple projects that became top 20 cryptocurrencies by market cap. But here's the pattern. Coinbase Ventures invests at seed stage when valuations are low, provides strategic support through Coinbase distribution network, and captures enormous returns when projects mature. Zebec received seed funding in 2021 when few investors understood streaming payments. For years later, Zebec operates infrastructure processing hundreds of millions annually with partnerships that would cost tens of millions to replicate. If Coinbase Ventures invested at $50 to $100 million valuation in 2021, and Zebec's infrastructure now supports $300 million annual volume with Mastercard and World Mobile partnerships, the implied valuation should be $500 million to $1 billion based on comparable payment infrastructure companies. That represents 5-10x return on Coinbase Ventures' initial investment before retail markets even recognized Zebec's positioning. This is sleeping giant strategy. Invest early, support infrastructure build, stay quiet during deployment, activate when regulatory clarity arrives and partnerships are operational. Now let's examine specific use cases where Coinbase and Zebec infrastructure converge operationally. First, Coinbase Card spending powered by real-time settlement. Currently, Coinbase Card users load crypto and spend at Visa merchants. Settlement happens through traditional banking rails with delays. If Coinbase integrated Zebec's streaming payment infrastructure, cardholders could experience true real-time settlement where crypto converts to fiat and merchants receive funds instantly with zero delay. Second, Coinbase Commerce merchant payments with streaming settlement. Currently, merchants using Coinbase Commerce receive crypto payments that must be converted to fiat through exchanges or held as crypto with volatility risk. If Coinbase integrated Zebec's streaming infrastructure, merchants could receive continuous fiat settlement as transactions occur, eliminating conversion delays and volatility exposure. Third, Coinbase payroll for Web3 companies. Coinbase doesn't currently offer payroll services. Zebec does. When Web3 companies need to pay employees in crypto or stablecoins with real-time streaming, Zebec provides that infrastructure. If Coinbase wants to offer payroll services to their 108 million users and enterprise clients, acquiring or deeply integrating with Zebec becomes strategically optimal. Fourth, Base blockchain payments powered by Zebec streaming infrastructure. Coinbase launched Base to provide low-cost blockchain transactions, but Base needs killer applications that drive usage. Integrating Zebec's streaming payment protocol onto Base would enable real-time payroll, subscription services, and continuous payment flows that attract enterprise adoption. This becomes the use case that differentiates Base from other L2S. Fifth, Coinbase wallet integration with Zebec Card. Coinbase Wallet is non-custodial crypto wallet used by millions. Zebec Card is Mastercard-powered debit card enabling crypto spending at 80 million merchants globally. Integration seems obvious. Coinbase Wallet users load USDC onto Zebec cards and spend anywhere. Coinbase doesn't need to build card infrastructure from scratch. They leverage Zebec's existing Mastercard partnership. Here's what makes this particularly compelling. Coinbase reported $8.7 billion in revenue for 2024. But trading revenues are declining as competition intensifies and crypto markets mature. Coinbase needs new revenue streams. Payment infrastructure represents enormous opportunity. Global payment processing generates hundreds of billions annually in fees. If Coinbase captures even 1% of global real-time payment market through Zebec infrastructure, that's billions in potential revenue. Now let's calculate the price impact on ZBCN when Coinbase begins actively promoting this investment and integrating Zebec infrastructure. Current ZBCN market cap is approximately $450 million with 100 billion total token supply. If Coinbase announces deep integration with Zebec for real-time payments across Coinbase Card, Coinbase Commerce, and Base blockchain, markets would immediately reprice ZBCN based on Coinbase 108 million user distribution potential. Conservative models suggest Coinbase integration announcement could drive 50 to 100% surge in ZBCN price within 24 hours as traders recognize distribution access to Coinbase's massive user base. If actual integration proceeds over 12 to 18 months and transaction volumes materialize, sustained institutional demand could support 3-5x price appreciation from current levels based purely on utility adoption, not speculation. But here's where it compounds. Zebec's deflationary tokenomics burn ZBCN with every transaction, currently processing $300 million annually with projected 7% monthly growth. If Coinbase integration drives transaction volume to $1 to $2 billion annually, token burn accelerates dramatically, reducing supply while demand increases. This creates mathematical scarcity that historically drives significant price appreciation in crypto assets with real utility. Moreover, Zebec's $50,000 token buyback in May 2025 established precedent for using revenue to reduce supply. If quarterly buybacks become standard practice funded by growing payment revenues, ZBCN transitions from inflationary to aggressively deflationary. When tokens with real utility become deflationary, price discovery typically exceeds utility-based models as scarcity premium compounds. Let's examine Coinbase Ventures' historical returns to understand potential magnitude. Their investment in Solana at early stage generated 100x plus returns. Their investment in Uniswap at seed stage generated similar returns. Their investment in Near Protocol captured 50x plus at peaks. Pattern shows Coinbase Ventures captures exceptional returns by identifying infrastructure projects early and providing strategic support through Coinbase distribution. If Zebec follows similar trajectory, from $50 to $100 million seed valuation to $5 to $10 billion mature infrastructure company, Coinbase Ventures' position could generate 50-100x returns. Even conservative scenario where Zebec reaches $1 to $2 billion valuation represents 10-20x return on initial investment. This is sleeping giant potential. Massive returns when infrastructure matures, but only visible to investors tracking institutional positioning patterns. Now let's address the World Mobile partnership, because this reveals Zebec's global ambitions that align with Coinbase international expansion. World Mobile operates 60,000 plus nodes with 2.1 million daily active users, providing decentralized connectivity in underbanked regions. Zebec partnered with World Mobile in August 2025 to launch ZebecNet, combining connectivity infrastructure with payment infrastructure across 70-plus countries. This creates complete financial stack for regions that lack both banking and reliable internet. When Coinbase wants to expand internationally into markets where traditional banking infrastructure doesn't exist, Zebec World Mobile provides turnkey solution. Users get connectivity through World Mobile's ZBCN network. They get payment infrastructure through Zebec's streaming protocol. They get access to crypto markets through potential Coinbase integration. Complete financial inclusion stack without traditional banks. Coinbase operates in 100-plus countries, but faces challenges expanding into underbanked regions due to banking infrastructure requirements. Zebec World Mobile solves this by providing infrastructure that doesn't depend on traditional banks. If Coinbase integrates this infrastructure, they could serve billions of users currently excluded from crypto markets due to lack of banking access. This isn't just payment infrastructure. This is Coinbase's pathway to achieving their mission of creating more economic freedom for the world. Here's the Mastercard dimension that amplifies everything. Zebec Carbon Card operates on Mastercard's global network with zero fees, instant activation, and Apple Pay/Google Pay compatibility. Mastercard processes billions of transactions globally across 150 million merchants. If Coinbase integrated Zebec Card as default spending solution for Coinbase Wallet and Coinbase Card users, they would leverage Mastercard's infrastructure without building it from scratch. This is strategic leverage. Coinbase provides custody and exchange infrastructure. Circle provides USDC stablecoin infrastructure. Zebec provides streaming payment and card infrastructure. Mastercard provides global merchant acceptance. Together, they create complete crypto-to-fiat payment stack that no single company could build independently. When institutional players collaborate through infrastructure integration rather than competition, network effects compound exponentially. Let's talk about ZBCN Zebec's point-of-sale terminal, because this completes the merchant infrastructure stack. ZBCN enables merchants to accept real-time USDC payments with instant settlement. Merchants deploying ZPIN terminals can accept payments from Zebec cards, Coinbase wallet, or any USDC holding user. Settlement happens instantly on blockchain with near zero fees compared to 2 to 3% traditional payment processing costs. If Coinbase promoted ZPIN terminals to their merchant partners, they could capture merchant payment processing market without building proprietary hardware. Merchants save money on fees. Customers get instant settlement. Coinbase captures transaction flow, and Zebec's infrastructure processes everything. This is win-win-win integration where all parties benefit from collaboration. Now let's address the timing question. Why would Coinbase activate this sleeping giant now instead of earlier? 3 catalysts align in 2025, creating perfect activation moment. First, regulatory clarity arrived with Genius Act, SEC DePIN classification, and MiCA framework solidifying. Coinbase couldn't aggressively promote Zebec while regulatory uncertainty remained. Second, Zebec's infrastructure matured from experimental protocol to operational payment system processing $300 million annually with enterprise compliance certifications, including SOC2 and MiCA Pursuit. Coinbase needs proven infrastructure, not experiments. That proof of concept is now complete. Third, Coinbase-owned strategic positioning has evolved. They launched Base Blockchain, pursued banking licenses, expanded internationally, and positioned themselves as crypto-to-fiat bridge. All these initiatives require payment infrastructure that Zebec provides. The timing for deep integration has never been better. Here's what announcement might look like when it happens. Coinbase announces strategic integration with portfolio company Zebec Network, enabling real-time streaming payments across Coinbase Card, Coinbase Commerce, and Base Blockchain. Integration will provide 108 million Coinbase users access to zero-fee crypto spending through Zebec Carbon Card powered by Mastercard. Rollout begins Q1 2026 with US market expansion followed by international markets. Market reaction to an announcement like this would be immediate and violent. ZBCN would likely surge 100 to 200% within 48 hours as markets price and distribution access to Coinbase's massive user base. Coinbase stock would rally 5 to 10% as investors recognize payment infrastructure advantage. And every competitor would immediately announce similar initiatives to avoid being left behind. But the real impact happens over 12 to 24 months following announcement as actual integration proceeds and transaction volumes ramp. When Coinbase users begin spending crypto through Zebec cards, when merchants adopt ZPIN terminals, when Base Blockchain transactions flow through Zebec streaming infrastructure, organic adoption accelerates through network effects. And ZBCN liquidity demand increases progressively to support growing transaction volumes. Let me be crystal clear about what we're not saying. We're not saying Coinbase will definitely announce Zebec integration. We're not saying ZBCN will hit specific price targets. We're not saying there are no risks. Technology could fail at scale. Competitors could develop superior solutions. Regulations could change. Market conditions could deteriorate. This isn't financial advice. What we are saying, documented evidence, shows Coinbase Ventures invested in Zebec's seed round alongside Circle Ventures. Technical analysis suggests Coinbase Commerce and Zebec share infrastructure layers. Strategic alignment is undeniable. Coinbase needs payment infrastructure, Zebec provides it. Regulatory timing has never been better. And sleeping giants activate when infrastructure matures and partnerships deploy. The current price of ZBCN at $0.0045 doesn't reflect Coinbase Ventures' strategic positioning. Markets are forward-looking, but not infinitely so. Until integration becomes obvious through product announcements or regulatory filings, most investors won't position for implications. When activation happens, initial surge captures attention. But sustained price discovery over following years as Coinbase's 108 million users adopt Zebec infrastructure is where real wealth gets created. Now you understand why Coinbase Ventures' investment in Zebec represents their sleeping giant payment bet. You understand the infrastructure alignments connecting Coinbase Commerce, Circle's USDC, and Zebec's streaming protocols. You understand the use cases that would emerge from deep integration. And you understand why timing in 2025 to 2026 creates perfect activation window. Whether you position for this potential is personal decision based on your risk tolerance and investment thesis. But ignoring the documented evidence that Coinbase Ventures positioned in Zebec for years ago and infrastructure is now operational would be a strategic mistake. The technical integration exists. The partnerships are deployed. The regulatory clarity arrived. And Coinbase strategic needs align perfectly with Zebec's capabilities. If this analysis changed your perspective on institutional positioning and sleeping giant strategies, smash that like button. Drop a comment with your price target for ZBCN if Coinbase announces deep integration and what time frame you think activation could happen. Tell me which Coinbase Ventures portfolio company you think represents their next sleeping giant. I read every comment. Let's see who's thinking about institutional infrastructure positioning instead of waiting for announcements. See you in the next one.